Okay guys, so today I'm going to demonstrate a basic men's haircut. Um, I always tell you guys that not everybody's gonna wanna do a bald fade or a zero fade or even a number one, because some guys or some men that are gonna come into the shop, they're kind of old school. They just want a basic tapered up haircut. So I'm gonna kind of take you through the steps right now. We're in this time of quarantine right now, so we're in the backyard, which, because this is my husband, it's okay. I can work on him, but we have to be really careful about who we're working on right now because of, the virus that's out there. We want to protect ourselves and our family, most important. Okay, so today I'm going to start with I'm going to start with my clipper. I've been charging it for a little while, so I think it's pretty much charged. I'm going to try it. I have the wall clipper, okay, and I'm going to start with a 2 because he likes it really short on the sides, so I'm going to start in the back. I like to start in the back at the nape area, and then I just start with my blade closed, and I start right in the middle because that's going to give me kind of like a guideline of where, how much I'm going to cut up to what area. I usually go up to about the occipital bone. And I kind of just, when I'm using my clipper, I kind of pull out just slightly because on these types of cuts, you don't want to create a line because then it's kind of hard to get rid of the line. It's hard to get rid of the line anyway. I know that now with the fades and stuff, you guys are actually creating the line and then going from that guide, to do your fade. This is kind of like an old school type of cut. I'm going to move you a little bit closer, just maybe so you could see a little bit better. Okay, so I'm right at the occipital bone. Okay, as you guys are going to see, there's not much of a line there. It kind of just blends already. So it's already giving me an opportunity to blend my haircut a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to go around the ear. So I'm going all the way around the ear. So notice I'm pulling the ear out of the way, and I'm just using the last 3 teeth of my clipper. And I'm pulling the ear out of the way. I'm going around the ear, and I'm holding it at an angle, like a 45-degree angle, so that I can cut around the ear. I'm going up the sideburn. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. Let me move you a little closer right here. So see, that's around the ear. I went right up to the sideburn. I only went up to about where the temporal area starts. So usually right where they start getting that little curve of their hairline. And the reason I don't go up too much higher than that right now, I'm gonna go up later on once I start blending the haircut, when I connect the top to the sides. Okay, so I'm gonna go do the other side. Let me move you back this way. Okay, so once I get all the bottom cut, I know that I'm gonna be blending in between here. So in the midsection, right? I'm gonna blend that. So right now I'm going to create my guide at the top, because once I create the guide at the top, Then I have a guide at the bottom, a guide at the top, and I can just connect all the middle part, okay? So I'm gonna wet this down a little bit. And I'm gonna take my shears. Can you scoot down just a little bit? No, scoot down, scoot, there you go. And I'm gonna start right in the front, okay? So when I'm cutting the front, hang on, I'm gonna turn the light on real quick. Okay, so when I'm creating the guide at the top, if I get this hair right here at the very front, so this is the hair right at the very front right here, okay? If I get this hair right at the front and I pull it back like this, I'm over directing, right? So I don't want to over direct because I'm pulling that hair back and I'm going to cut here, it's going to stay longer. I want to over direct slightly, but not a lot, okay? Because then it'll leave it really long. So I want to over direct it just slightly, and I'm going to create my guide at the top. So I'm going to see how long I want that top hair to be. So whether they say, oh, an inch off the top, 1 inch, 2 inches, whatever they want off the top, that's going to be your created guide. Okay, then once you create that, you could do it two ways. You could pick up your mohawk right in the middle right here, and you could create your 90-degree mohawk going all the way around. So you could pick up like this, cut here, and create your guide. Or I like to do, I pick up this part and I cut straight across, and then I comb and I cut. I comb, and my guide is there. I don't know, let me see if I can move you a little closer, tilt the head down. So when I comb and I cut, my guide is right there. I don't know if you could see it, but there it is. So my guide is right here. I can see it through the hair, and I'm gonna just cut right there, okay? So I'm combing and cutting. Now, when you get to the back, this is where a lot of barbers and hairdressers, they make this mistake, and it really bugs me. It bugs me because when I see it on my husband, that's all I can look at when I look at his hair. So you have to be really careful about this part. You always want to do during your first, before you do the haircut, you're doing your consultation, you're doing your scalp and hair analysis. And what you're looking for is what types of movements are the hair doing? Do they have any whorls? Do they have any cowlicks? Do they have a bald spot? What's happening on their hair? Because you want to make sure you cut the hair to enhance that. You don't want it to bring attention to that area. Okay, so my husband has a little spot where it's like a little cowlick on his hair, and it actually, when it's cut too short, it looks like a bald spot. It's not a bald spot. It's not a bald spot though. He said it's not a bald spot. It's not a bald spot, it's just a cowlick. And what it does is that the hair, you're gonna see right here, is that the hair all grows in like a whorl. So let me see, right there. You see it? So the hair grows like this, and it grows like this. So what a lot of barbers do is they cut the hair 90 degree all the way around, and so then they cut that short, really short right there. So that when his hair is really short, that bald spot really is noticeable, super noticeable. So you want to make sure that when they comb their hair, it looks nice and smooth and covers all the areas so that it doesn't show. See, you can see it right through there. If his hair isn't combed right or whatever, it'll show if the hair's too short. So you have to take that into consideration when you're doing your haircut. Because remember, we want our clients to look good. We want their haircut to look super good. So the way to avoid that is, as I'm cutting here, when I get to that area, I have to over direct down, almost like at a 45. Instead of bringing it straight up at a 90, where you see I'm holding the hair right here, I'm gonna actually bring it down to like a 45 and cut it there. So that way the 90 will blend into the 45 and it'll cover that spot, okay? So that's one thing that, you know, you guys really need to look for when you're cutting hair, and you need to keep an eye out, because you don't want to expose any kind of, you know, spots or cowlicks or anything like that on your client's hair. We want him to have a nice, clean, sharp-looking haircut. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna go back up. Now I cut that mohawk area in the 90. Okay, so now I can pick up the spot, the hair again, and I can hold it. So I'm going 90 straight up here, and then I'm tilting over this way. Let me turn this way so I can show. So here's the 90. Then I'm gonna slightly go this way. Then I'm gonna come this way, and I'm gonna follow the shape of the head until I get to the side where I'm actually gonna be here, straight out, okay? So I'm gonna turn back this way. I'm gonna pick up the hair here. I'm gonna wet it a little more so it doesn't fly everywhere. And I like to do one side at a time, so I'll do all of this side first, all the left side, and then once I get all the left side cut, then I will go to the right side and cut all the right side. Then I check both sides to make sure that they're even, that they're the same. Now here's where I'm, see how I comb and then I bring down the hair because I want it to stay a little longer in that area. See, I'm cutting in here. So here's my guide at the top, and then I'm gonna get rid of all this bulk. I'm just gonna go back through and check to make sure that both sides are even. And I could do that by just picking it up at a 90 all the way around the head, straight up from where the hair grows. Any hairs that are a little longer or any areas, any sections that the hair looks longer, then you go back through and you just cut it. Make sure that all the hair is the same length. Okay, and you're gonna see that I kind of comb forward, and I comb forward to make sure that the hair is pulling out straight from where it's growing, because if I keep combing back like this, I'm over directing the hair back. So if I pull forward, then I know that the hair is coming out straight from where it's growing. And that's what we want for a true 90 haircut. Okay, so now that I've cut the top, I know that I cut the bottom. Now the top is cut the length that I want. So now I'm gonna go back to my clipper, and I'm gonna remove my guard, and I'm gonna use clipper over comb method. So clipper over comb method, you need to practice because you need to do that for your state board, okay? I always like to clean off my client's face so that they don't have a bunch of hair on their face. Okay, so then I'm gonna go clipper over comb. I'm going to bring my comb in here, so my guide is down here. I'm gonna bring my comb in, and I'm gonna rest this bottom piece at the bottom of their head or their face. And when I pull out like that, I could see the short hair, and I could see where I need to what I need to cut. Okay, and if I go straight in like this, I'm going to create another line. So I like to go in at an angle. And I'm removing both. So now I'm blending in my shear cut to my clipper cut. Now, if I didn't want to do clipper over comb, let's say I'm not too comfortable with that. I could take my number 3 guard because I used a 2 on the bottom. So now I'm going to use my number 3 guard on the top. My 3, or you can use a 4 depending on how short or long you want it. With the blade closed, that means that this lever is going to be forward and I could go over it. And that'll also take away any lines that you have. It'll blend it into your shear. You can use that as well. Okay, so whatever way you prefer to do it, that's your own choice. You can, whatever you feel more comfortable doing, that's what you have to do. Okay, once you get it, you'll be able to do any way you want. I'm going to continue with my clipper over comb since that's what I started with. Now on my husband's hair, he's got one side, this side right here lays nice and flat. This hair grows and it goes nice and flat right here on this side, and it comes down. This side, what you're gonna find with a lot of your clients, you're gonna find out that they have different ways of, their hair grows different ways. This side, the hair doesn't grow back and flat, it grows out. So when you cut it, it sticks out, it comes more out this way. It doesn't comb smoothly back like the other side. So you kind of have to make sure you cut it so that it'll give that appearance, because you don't want one side to look like it's sticking straight out and then the other side is combing back nice and smooth. Okay? So you take all of those things into consideration as you're doing your haircut. Okay? Okay, so now that looks pretty good. It's blending pretty good. So now I'm going to add my finishing touches by using my thinning shears. My thinning shears is going to give me more of a blending on the sides. It's going to take off bulk at the top of the hair so that it combs back a little bit easier. It's going to just give it a little more shape as well. Okay, so I'm going to use my thinning shears. I have these thinning shears. These thinning shears have smaller teeth, so the smaller the teeth, you're going to get quite a bit of hair taken out. I also have these thinning shears that have they have a big gap between the teeth. These take out really a lot of hair. They cut a lot of hair, but you have to be kind of careful with these because it'll cut, the shorter hairs will be very, very short. So when you're using this type of a shear, you got to be a little more careful. But I like to use these at the top of the hair because it gives a more dimensional cut at the top. So I'll use those at the top. For the bottom part, I'm going to use these. And I'm just going to start at the bottom of the hairline. And I'm going to go in a continuous motion up. Shear over comb, you have to remember that it's just a continuous cut. If you stop, you're going to create a line. Okay, so you want to keep moving your shear and your comb at the same time. And that's going to remove any lines that you have left on your cut. And you just go all the way around the head, and you're looking for weight lines. You're looking for weight lines. You're looking for any type of line that you don't think should be there. Then you need to try to remove it with your thinning shears. Then I'm going to take these other shears, and at the top I'm just going to pick up where I want a little bit more texture off the tips, so that I get a nice smooth you know, line as I'm combing it back. So I'm just picking up here and I'm cutting the tips. That's going to give me a dimensional cut of long and short because of the way the teeth are on the shear. Okay, and it's going to give me a nice shape. Once I'm done with that, now I gotta clean up. Now I'm gonna do my final touches of my haircut. Now my haircut's basically done, and I need to clean it up. I need it to look nice and sharp and clean, okay? So that means getting rid of all of this hair that's underneath here and it creating a line. Okay, so some men are gonna want a box. They're gonna want to be lined up in the back, you know, like a box. Some are gonna want it tapered up. I like to line him up and then I kind of get rid of the line. I taper it up just on the bottom, just to remove the line. So I'm gonna do that right now. Okay, I've got my Andis T-liner. I'm gonna start right in the middle. I like to start in the middle and create the line from here going to left to right or right to left. So I'm going to start right in the middle. And when we create our line in the back, when we're creating our clean, you know, our finishing, the rule of thumb is you're going to start your line right under the earlobe, where the earlobe ends. That's where your line should begin. Okay, so it should come right there, because what you're picturing is you're picturing that they have their dress shirt on with a collar, and if they had their collar on, the collar's going to hit right here. Well, the line should look right above it. That's what a clean haircut should look like. It should be right above that. If you go too high, then it makes the neck look kind of funny. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create an illusion of a long neck, so that when they have their shirt and tie on, that it gives them that appearance. And that's what we want it to look like. So I like to create the line first. And sometimes you have to stand back, or you have to turn them around and look at it in the mirror. Because if you're looking at it right like this, it might look straight. But once you stand back and look at it, it might look a little crooked. So you have to make sure that you get it at the right angle, okay? And then once you do that, then you're gonna wanna go from the side, and you're creating an angle down like this. You're not gonna create a box, because remember, we're trying to elongate the neck. So we're gonna create this at an angle. So now I've cleaned him up here. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to take my trimmer and I'm going to pull the ear up, and I'm going to go around the ear and clean up this area. This area has to get cleaned up as well. Make sure you move their ear out of the way. Don't go too high, because you don't want them to look like they got, you know, a tire well around their ear. You want it to blend in nice and good. And then you're going to do their sideburn. So the sideburn, when you create the sideburn, you're looking at this part of the ear, this little round part of the ear, that little bump. It should go right in the middle of that, or right above. Some men like it a little higher, or they like it to, you know, they don't want a sideburn there. That's okay too. You're going to do whatever your client wants. You're doing it to his preference. And it's okay to move the ears out of the way. Okay, you got to move the ears so you can see what you're doing. Okay, once I do that, then I'm gonna take my clipper again and I'm gonna put a 1 guard on. And I'm gonna go right up at the bottom of this line and I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna open my blade, so I'm gonna pull back my little lever that I have here, pull it all the way back. And I'm gonna remove that line. A very low taper. So he doesn't have like a hard line, it's more of just, it softens up the whole thing. And I'll kind of go up a little bit to blend it in. Okay. So that kind of just blends it in a little bit. I know it's hard to see on video like that because you're looking at the coloring of the tan lines that he has, but it's, when you look at it here, it's very blended, okay? So you have to take that into consideration also, because sometimes your clients are going to have tan lines. They're going to, because especially men that work outside, they're going to have a lot of tan lines. Also, what's going to kind of mess you up sometimes is sometimes they have gray hair. They have gray hair mixed in with their dark hair, with black hair or brown hair, and then it creates an illusion of lines in the hair because you're looking at that gray hairline. Okay, so you have to be able to determine, is it really a line or is it just the hair coloring that's making it appear to have a line? Okay, so those are all things that we have to really take notice to when we're doing the haircut, because if it's the hair color, if it's gray hair or white hair mixed in with the black hair, and we just keep cutting and cutting and cutting because we think there's a line there, then it can mess up our haircut. It can cut it a lot shorter than what your gentleman really wants. So you have to really look at all of those things when you're performing your haircut. Okay, so once I do that, this last part, now I have to make sure that my client doesn't have hair growing down his back. Sometimes we have clients that have, you know, a lot of hair that grows up their back. This client does not. He has a, you know, very, very little hair, but I am going to make sure that I clean up, you know, past where the drape is, to make sure that I clean it all up, because we want it to look like nice and clean. Remember, we're going for a nice, clean, short haircut. Okay? And at this time, we also check for a total grooming. We check the ear. Any hair in the ear, you would clean that up, you know, remove that with your trimmer. We also can ask them if they want their eyebrows trimmed, you know, their mustache, their beard, their goatees, whatever they have. But we have to remember that right now, because of the situation that we're in with the COVID virus, that a lot of barbers and hairstylists are deciding not to work around the face right now. Usually we do, but right now, because, you know, we know that it's very contagious, and being right in the face, it's kind of risky, but I mean, that's up to you. They are, you know, they are saying that it's better not to, but that's a choice that you'll make. Okay. Okay, so once we're done with the haircut, then we just gonna look at it, make sure that it's, you know, everything's blended, it looks good. One thing I like to do is I have this little comb. You're gonna notice that it's a lot thinner on this side, it's wider on this side. I like to get this comb, and right here, maybe over here, right here on this area, I like to comb the hair forward, and I take my shear and I put my finger underneath to guide it, and I just clean up right there. That takes off any bulk that's in the hair. And then this little one you can use to kind of go in and do a scissor over comb, so that you could get real close to the hair right there, to the, you know, because it's got real thin teeth, real close together. Okay, So once I do that, and I also like to use this type of a comb for doing eyebrows and mustaches because it's because of the way the teeth are. They're so close together. You're able to get inside underneath the eyebrows really nice and close. Okay. So I'm gonna, because this is my husband and we've been quarantined together, I'm gonna go ahead and do his eyebrows. So I just go underneath here and trim his eyebrows. Okay, so my haircut's basically done. I'm gonna go ahead and get my blow dryer and just kind of take away the hair off of the face. And then I'm gonna finish it off by doing a little bit of styling. So we take a little bit of Suavecito gel. I did use a spatula to take it out. Remember, we can never stick our fingers into our containers because that will contaminate it. And this is a very sticky gel, so you want to make sure that you rub it really good because the heat from your hands will make it a little more liquidy and it'll be easier to apply. And then you just run it through their hair. Because remember, you're doing the haircut, but you're also doing the style because you want to make sure that they're leaving your shop with combed hair. You don't want them to leave all messed up or else it's gonna not look good for your haircut. Okay, so you can take a brush like this. This is a vent brush, or you can use a large tooth comb. I have this large tooth comb that I also use sometimes. I'm gonna go ahead and use the brush. And when I brush the hair, instead of just brushing it down like this in a downward motion, because then that's gonna not give any type of a shape to the hair. Okay, I'm gonna brush it going up. So then what that is doing is it's pushing the hair and it's creating a nice shape for the hair, for the haircut. Okay, so you can see the haircut has a nice shape. It's evenly rounded. I'm gonna pick this up so you can see a little closer. Okay, so the haircut has a good shape. It's got, you know, it's blended, styled. It's a good rounded haircut, okay, for the businessman. It's kind of what we call the gentleman's cut, or the, you know, the classic old school type of a cut. And that's basically our haircut. You can use a little light hairspray for some men. They like to have a little hairspray so that their hair doesn't move around. So I have this, this happens to be a Moroccan oil hairspray. It's just a very light spray. And remember, spraying hair, you don't spray right here. You stand back and you do a light spray. And then you come around the front, cover the face, a light spray right across the top. And then you can put your hands in like this. This will press in the sides of the hair, and it also helps to give it a good shape. Okay, so then you want to put it, you know, that way it'll give it flat here, give it a little more volume here, especially for those pompadours, those type of haircuts like that. Okay, so basically that's our haircut for today. And then after that, you'll dust them off. I don't have my duster here, but this is our classic men haircut. I'll move it a little closer. Turn on. We'll do a all the way around view. Okay. And that's your lesson of your men's haircut for the day. Bye guys, I'll see you later.